I'm back, and since this is a Star Wars review, we'll start off by saying, well, hello. Yeah, I got everybody all messed up there. If you know, you know. It wasn't Silence of the Lambs, because I didn't say Clarice. Alright, guys, I haven't been on here for a while. Missed all you beautiful people, and had a rough day today. Been dealing with doctors and insurance and getting stranded in another city. Yeah, so in order to combat that, I'm just trying to stay positive, crack jokes, smile, have fun, and take the medicine. So, in my absence, I haven't been doing just nothing. I did go back and watch all the Star Wars franchise, except for the cartoons. And I'm in the process of watching them now. There's a few seasons of those, so it'll take a little bit. I'm watching them, but they are important. The Clone Wars cartoon lets you in on a lot that you don't get in the movies. I won't tell you what it is, but they do finally give a reason for why the stormtroopers are such terrible shots. So, we're going to get into these, and I wanted to because when I was younger, you know, the first trilogy, I was a fan of it. I liked it. So when I wasn't never a big Star Wars nerd like some of my friends are, and so like I never, you know, it was never a love of my life. You know what I mean? But I always liked them, and like many people that were just casual Star Wars fans, I lost interest when they tried to redo it, bring the next trilogy in, because Phantom Menace was a terrible movie. There's no other way around. I can't sugarcoat that shit. It's a terrible movie. There were some key things in it that needed to happen for the storyline, but the movie was terrible. So after that, I didn't get into it. I didn't watch Attack of the Clones. I didn't watch Revenge of the Sith. I didn't watch none of that shit they were doing. I watched The Last Jedi with a friend at a friend's house, you know, a couple years back. Didn't pay too close attention, just some spots, because, you know, I saw, like, at this point I was already done with it. I was watching it because I was there, you know, by proximity. Well, I decided to go all the way back through, and especially on Disney Plus, they have it listed, the chronological timeline, like they do with the Marvel movies. So it was the timeline in order of what everything happened. So that's the way I watched it, the way the timeline was supposed to be, the way George Lucas meant that. You know, the first three was great. I liked them. It was hard sitting through Phantom Menace again. We kind of had to. It's been years since I watched it, so I wanted to have everything fresh in my brain. And my brain don't retain information like it used to either, so, you know, I got to really pay attention. So I had to go through that, and, you know, they get through that. It's a bad movie. It really is. But Attack of the Clones is where they start picking it back up. Like, Attack of the Clones wasn't great, but it wasn't, sure as hell wasn't Phantom Menace. So it was a good movie, but it wasn't great. Now, Revenge of the Sith is where they, in my opinion, kind of redeemed themselves. See, I'm not going to go through every movie in detail. Shit, I'll catch, you know, cut on a few pieces from a few of the movies. But Revenge of the Sith is where they really turned the shit around, in my opinion. This is the opinion of a casual Star Wars fan. Thanks, guys. Sorry, it was rough. I just got home from the doctor. Yes. But anyway, so Revenge of the Sith is amazing, and it has one of the top 3 fight scenes in Star Wars history, I believe. Obi-Wan and Vader, and Revenge of the Sith was just sick. I'm getting some goosebumps now just talking about this shit with you guys. Like, it was sick. It was sick. They threw it down. If you know the meaning, everybody knows the meaning behind it. Anakin becomes Darth Vader later on, but when they find him, Anakin's a kid. He's a kid. They don't know this is evil and this dark side is going to take over. All they know is this kid has the Force and it's stronger than most people they've ever found. So, so Obi-Wan trains him in the ways of a Jedi. And, in Revenge of the Sith, that's why they end up fighting, because, the dark side takes over. Anakin becomes Vader. Murders all the Jedis. Waste things. Kids know. Ruthless shit. Kids know. And then, it comes to that fight scene. And it was amazing. It's fucking amazing. I say one of three, but in my top 3 fight scenes, there's probably 5 fight scenes. So, we'll have to, I just have to deal with that. But, he gets up on him, Obi-Wan beats him. Thinks he's dead. Okay, here's where we're going to do this a few times. We're going to go off a little bit. This is my opinion. I don't think he ever thought Vader was dead. He knew Vader was going to survive that. He couldn't kill him. And we'll get into more of my reasons before that as we get into this. But I don't believe that he ever thought that first time that Vader was dead. I believe that he's still seen Anakin. He didn't see Vader. And he always seen Anakin. Didn't see Vader. But I don't believe that he believed Vader was dead that first time. So he knew it. He knew it. And, if you see the movie, the Emperor comes. Vader's almost dead. Anakin is almost dead. Gets him. Becomes Vader. Because at that point, he wasn't Darth Vader. He was still Anakin, but he'd turned to the dark side. He'd had enough. He had enough bullshit. Because here, I want to back up just a little bit. Should have started with this shit. Star Wars was a Holy Wars movie. Religion. Everybody thinks the main theme for Star Wars is the Skywalkers. It's not. It's religion. Different religions, different opinions. That's what it is. It's a holy war. That whole thing, it was a holy war. So, we'll get back to this. When he defeats Anakin, he's not yet become Vader. So the Emperor gets him, he becomes Vader. They don't fight again. I believe. Well, work with me here. I'm trying to remember these in the order. I should have had it on my TV so I could just see what the order was. Sheet. So give me a second to turn that on. But they fight again, and of course it was the one that already happened where Vader killed Obi-Wan, per se. I got an opinion on that too, and here we'll sidetrack on that while I'm finding this sheet thing here. Vader never killed Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan went out like Yoda did, like Luke did. He wasn't killed. Vader never killed him. But I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm just average Joe. I'm not even a buff. You know what I mean? But I could be wrong. Vader never killed Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan done himself. Not saying that Vader wouldn't have. He would have. But Obi-Wan was smart enough, didn't give him a chance. So, they fight, in Revenge of the Sith, and here we go. I'm queuing this up. So just tell me what timeline is. I cheat, you know what I mean. So we got Sith. That's Solo movie. That was good. Oh boy, was that good. I thoroughly enjoyed that one. I didn't know about it, but I thoroughly Thoroughly enjoyed it. So the Solo movie was good. Now there wasn't a fight between Vader and Obi-Wan on this one because it's Solo story, how he got into it. So then the next will be the Obi-Wan series, which, as far, man, it's one of the best things George Lucas ever fucking done. Been really trying to watch my language on this one. I don't really give a shit most of the time, but this one got me. Like the Obi-Wan series, it's pretty much just like 5-hour movie. You know what I mean? It was his story. It wasn't really. Everybody, here's one thing. I haven't heard a lot of bad things about this, but I've heard a couple people say, "Oh, it's just a story of Princess Leia." It's kind of what it was, man. It's kind of why Obi-Wan was there. So they need to tell that story. Again, all this is perception and opinion. You know what I mean? But Obi-Wan was amazing. It's my second favorite out of any of the Star Wars shit. I'll tell you what my favorite is here in a little bit. But Obi-Wan, amazing, man. Amazing. Like, they knocked it out of the park with that. They fight Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan gets him in this one too. Obi-Wan's powers is gone shit. You know, he meets Vader. Hold on. Vader gets him first time. Alright. I'm going to put a bunch of spoilers out there. But like I said, we're going to do a few key scenes that really stuck out to me. Really like, I don't know, like some gangster shit. Yeah, Vader got pretty gangster. And, you know, he knocks Obi-Wan down. He finds him and he tells him he's going to make him suffer. And he starts this big fire and he uses the Force to drag his fucking almost lifeless body through this fire. Gangster. Ooh. Man, goosebumps again, like Vader was, yeah. So then they fight later on, you know, because Obi-Wan had kind of like went away from the Force. You know, he was supposed to be watching Luke, and Luke's uncle wasn't having that. You know what I mean? Didn't want him around. Blah blah blah. And then he has to go save Leia because Leia gets in trouble, gets her ass kidnapped, shit. You know. So that's where that goes. And they end up fighting at the end after the second one, and Obi-Wan gets his powers back, and that's when it gets good. That is when it gets good. Burying him in rocks, and he's holding it. Boom! It was, oh yeah, man, it was amazing. And the end of that fight scene, because he whoops Vader's ass again. And I mean, whooped his ass at this point, 2-1. But he whooped him. Whooped him this time, man. And this shows where the scar on Vader's face come from. It's Obi-Wan's lightsaber, and he gashed that fucking helmet. That's where the scar come from on Darth Vader. And that scene, like, they were just fucking brilliant. I don't even care about using that word now. They were just fucking brilliant because everybody knows that, Vader's voice and Anakin's is different. So, the helmet's, messed up. It's got a big gash in it. His face has got a scar now. It's bleeding. But it's not really bleeding. I don't show blood too much in Star Wars, but that big gash is there, so Obi-Wan is able to see through there and see Anakin, and I believe that is the only reason in that scene that Obi-Wan didn't murder Vader, didn't go ahead and kill him. Now, like I said, it's pure speculation of mine because it never got to that, you know what I mean, but that's the beauty about this shit. They leave it open for people's interpretations, but I believe Obi-Wan had it in him at that point. He would have killed Vader then if he wouldn't have gouged that helmet and seen him. Because then when he's talking, it's going back and forth between Anakin's voice and Vader's voice. When he's yelling, Obi-Wan, it's going in and out. You got James Earl Jones, I believe this guy, or whoever it was, played Vader. I might be wrong on that. Fact check it. Crucify me, I don't know. Anyway, it's going back and forth. Dope stuff. I mean, it's really good. But when Vader looks at him and he's saying, "I'm sorry, Anakin, I failed you," he said, "You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did." Oh, whoo, gangster again. You know, Vader's the man, right? So that's kind of where I'm going to leave that one off. That was the Obi-Wan. Like, definitely watch it. It was one of the best things that Star Wars ever done, hands down. And then, you know, next in line would be the Rebels. I haven't watched that. I'm in the process of watching Clone Wars, and then I'll have to watch Bad Batch, then the Rebels. But then I just watched the movies, right? So we go to Rogue One. A lot of people didn't like that one movie. I heard so much bad shit about that. You know, so that's why I didn't watch a whole lot of it. But then come to find out that one of my favorite kung fu actors of all time, Donnie Yen, is in this movie. If I'd known that from the get-go, I'd have watched it then. Because it was a little hard getting into it, but luckily for me, I got a friend who is a buff, who when I was confused on stuff, would give me just enough information, but not spoil it for me. So in this one, you know, it starts off a little slow and a little confusing, and then you got to get in. It's not a Skywalker story, which I'm glad Star Wars is doing some of that. Skywalkers were huge in it, but then there's more to it than just Skywalkers, and that's where it's. I'm sorry, guys. That's just funny. Real quick, I just got an email or a text message from the transportation company saying they're there to take me home. I'm home. It's been a day. So that one was just funny. I gotta laugh that off. That was fun. That's a win for me. Hashtag winning. Ha! So back to Rogue One. You know, it was a little slow getting into it. And they're calling again, but I'm gonna let it go. They can sit there and figure this shit out for themselves. So we're watching, you know, I'm watching Rogue One. It's hard getting into it. It's a little slow moving. But then I figure out what they're doing. Like, this is where they acquire the plans for the Death Star. So this is before, you know, the first trilogy still. We're still before the first trilogy where we all came into it years ago. So once I figured that out, especially, like, the movie was good. There wasn't a lot of big name people in it, big characters, you know what I mean? Some cameos and shit like that, but it wasn't a Skywalker based Star Wars movie like Solo wasn't, and they're good. So I'm not gonna go much into that one. It was a good movie though. It did not deserve the hate it got, in my opinion. So then after that, it's The New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. We're all on that. Okay, now after that, is where The Mandalorian comes in. That is what got me. That is what got me back into Star Wars. The Mandalorian was so well done. Fantastic. I loved it. I just loved it. It got me back into Star Wars, and that's what, you know, it ended up coming to this recent adventure I had where I went through and watched everything. Just let them keep calling this ring, and I'm loving this. So now they're working on the third season of The Mandalorian. Great, can't wait for that one. That spun the Book of Boba Fett, which was good. Wasn't great. Really good. Really good. Like my buddy's opinion on it is, Boba Fett had such a large cult following that they just kind of had to do this to shut the Boba Fett fans up. But I think they done it well. It was good, but it wasn't Obi-Wan good. You know what I mean? Mandalorian, it wasn't Mandalorian good either. It was almost, but not quite Mandalorian good. But Obi-Wan's better than both of them. And it's not to take nothing away from them. They were really good, really well done stories. I liked them. Just, they knocked it out. They set the bar way high with Obi-Wan. Okay, then we got Star Wars Resistance cartoon that I'll get into later. And then we get into the last trilogy, The Force Awakens. I liked it. I liked it a lot. It's when Kylo Ren gets introduced, and then you come to find out that he's the son of Leia and Han, so the grandson of Darth Vader. And here's where some Darth Vader fans are gonna get angry with me. Kylo Ren was way more ruthless than Vader at the beginning of this shit. At the beginning, he's way more ruthless. Way more. He kills his dad, don't hesitate. Only time in any three of these movies that I've seen him show any sign of weakness was in The Last Jedi. He had a chance, he was supposed to shoot the ship, he knew his mom was on, he couldn't pull the trigger, but his buddies flying behind him, they did it. That's the only time. Now, he showed confusion over a bunch of shit because him and Ren, who ends up at the end being very powerful, so when they introduce her, I kind of know she's going to be the next Jedi they're talking about, and the whole time kind of thinking it's Luke's daughter. That's where they have it sent, because the titles of the movies are sending it that way. The Force Awakens, people are using the Force again. The Last Jedi, Jedi and Sith, their religions, and they chose. But the last movie especially is Rise of Skywalker. Very fucking misleading. Very. But Ren, like at first I'm like, I don't know, she grew on me really quick. Now Finn, that character, I was over with quick, because quickly it becomes evident that this dude is just chasing the pussy all over the galaxy and putting a lot of lives at risk doing so. I think they could have done without him. I'm not a big Finn fan at all. So the Force Awakens, it's pretty much the last of Han, except a couple cameos, and it introduces Kylo Ren and Snoke, which I don't like. They could have just done without him too. He didn't play I thought he was going to play some significance. Never really did. And he never really did. So then we get to The Last Jedi, which I told you before, I'd watched this with a friend. Didn't pay much close attention to it. I paid close attention to it this time. The Last Jedi is my favorite out of the whole line. The movie's fucking sick. I love it. Absolutely, it's when you start figuring shit out. They're telling you who Ren is. Almost. They're still misleading you. Still making you think it's one way. And then I'm being very careful about this because this is what I want to talk to you about, but it's a big spoiler, so I don't want to do that. But they start showing you, if you're paying attention, showing you. Like at this point, I was telling my buddy, I'm like, it's one of two things. And he said, you're right on one of them. So, I was going towards the right way on it. But they done a very good job disguising this shit until the last movie. Now, The Rise of Skywalker, I ain't taking nothing away from that. It was a great goddamn movie, too. I think my favorite three out of the whole lines would be Last Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, and Rise of Skywalker. See? My favorite three, none of them were in the first ones. Hate me, I know, but I loved them, and I'm not taking nothing away from the first three. I loved them too. Like I said, so far the only thing I've seen in this line that I just did not like was Phantom Menace. The Rise of Skywalker was great. The Last Jedi, I won't ruin nothing. So we'll go in one of my scenes when you finally get to see Luke fight. Because you only get it once. You only get it once. And it's brief. But it was powerful. Brief but powerful. There we go. It was brief but powerful. So it was enough. Like, I would have loved to have seen, like, I wanted a fight scene. I wanted to see Luke up on a motherfucker. You know what I mean? Going into it. They gave us that, and I'm very okay with it. Very okay with it. They're fighting on these sand dune type shit, salt flats. And like the salt gets wet or something, it turns red, so it kind of looks like blood. So it gives the image of this big bloody scene. And all the Star Wars fans know that there's not much blood in the whole line, you know. So it made it look like blood when it wasn't. He's out there and they just unload on him with the big AT-ATs and everything they got. Nope. Oh, it's great. I won't go any more into that because then it'll spoil. And so then the Rise of Skywalker, I'm not going to go too much into a lot of that because that one will spoil. Like it's the closing one. You know what I mean? This is the culmination of the Skywalker story. At least for right now. But this is the culmination of the Skywalker story. But let's go somewhere else. I want to see other shit too, and it's open for that. But this is culminated up very well. So I won't go into a whole lot in that because, like I said, it kind of all spoilers because it's all tying everything together, explaining everything, you telling you everything. Absolutely fantastic movie. You know, the CGI, the special effects. Oh my gosh, it's so good. When he finally got the money to make the second trilogy and do the shit right, and then go back and do the first one the way he wanted to do the first ones. It's just amazing. This whole storyline is really good. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, now I'm into the cartoons, and at first you think, you can watch them especially in the Clone Wars so far. Like, it's just saying some shit that wasn't in the movies. You know what I mean. It shit shows up in some of the movies and some of the series that if you didn't watch Clone Wars, you'd be a little lost. And like I said, after all these years, it finally gives their explanation for why the stormtroopers can't hit shit. Force bomb. Yes. So, alright, we're at about a half hour. I took up enough of your guys' time today laughing. And now I'm going to call this number back about that ride and laugh at them for... guys, you don't understand. This is so funny. I might just let it go. But anyway. So that was my Star Wars review. That's my take on it. I'm going to watch all these cartoons now. A little bit slower pace. It's the Clone Wars. Like, I think if they'd have done a different animation style, it could have been really badass. Because I'm a fan of cartoons. Now, you give me a good animation style, a good story, and a cartoon. I'm a fan of this shit. This one's just a little too Disney for me. I believe that's why a lot of Star Wars fans didn't watch it. They thought it was just Star Wars for kids and it's just another thing. Nope. He put a lot of key shit in there. So you'll be lost a bit. And the other ones if you don't watch it. But that's my take, man. I think a lot of the hate that the rest of the line got after they come back out was kind of unwarranted. And I get it from Phantom Menace. Like I said, that was terrible. Hated it. Hated it. But they picked it back up, and these other movies are absolutely freaking phenomenal. The Revenge of the Sith was a damn good movie. And then the whole last trilogy, I don't give a shit. The whole last trilogy is great. And Rogue One was good, too. Everybody's like, it wasn't about Skywalker, so you were confused. And, hey, what's that say for you? This average fan understands it better. Alright, guys. It's good to see you again. I love you guys. Talk to you soon.